In my last video, we were checking out the new generation Ford Ranger, and today we're checking out another proudly South African product. Yes, Toyota is a Japanese brand, but this car is built right here in South Africa, and it's the second best-selling car in the country right now. The last time I checked, the waiting period for a Corolla Cross was around 4 to 6 months, and it's even worse if you want a hybrid. Towards the end of last year, I lived with a HAVAL Jolion for about a month, and I kind of liked it. It's not the best SUV in the world, but also it's not as bad as people claim. And today we'll look at the Corolla Cross, then I'll tell you why I'd personally choose the Jolion over the Cross. And when I say personally, I'm referring to me, not you. Welcome to another video. No, wait. You know when you worship badges or logos, common sense tends to leave you without saying goodbye. That's why for a long time we lived amongst people who believed an iPhone 6 is better than any flagship Android phone, merely just cause it's an Apple. If you still have that mentality in 2023, my man, you must just go back to preschool. And like the preschool must be named after you. If you want a Corolla Cross, you should note that there's 4 trims at the moment. Corolla Cross XI, XS, XR and GR Sport. Don't get too excited, there's nothing special about the GR Sport, it's almost like an R-line package. HAVAL has a similar Jolion and it's called Jolion S. At least the Jolion has some minor performance upgrade, but it's nothing to write home about. The front end design is nice and I like that Toyota gave us a black grille instead of a chrome one. I don't know if it's just me, but I find chrome unappealing. The entry-level XI model doesn't get fog lamps and the LED daytime running lights, and that's just about it. Everything else is more or less the same. The GR Sport looks nicer design-wise, that's why you pay more for the looks, but performance is the same. On the side, the XI and XS model look exactly the same. This is the XS model by the way, and it comes with the same 17-inch wheels you get on the entry-level XI model. The XR gets some nicer 18s, and the GR Sport also gets the same 18s but blacked out, so you pay more for the spray paint. Look, I think we all know that new cars are ridiculously priced these days, but this Corolla Cross is well priced in my humble opinion. It starts from 371,000 rands for the entry-level model and goes all the way to 480,000 rands for the top of the range model. With just 480,000 rands, you go home with the last number Corolla Cross XR Hybrid. With HAVAL, you pay a whole 580,000 rands for the top of the range Jolion Hybrid. But it's worth noting that spec for spec, the Jolion is slightly superior and more powerful. So the price is kind of justified, I guess. But I still wouldn't buy it though. Before we continue with this video, let me first share with you a piece of advice. You see, if you want to be happy in life, you should never argue with VW and Toyota fans about cars because they lack facts. With Toyota fans, it's all about dealer network, parts availability and whatnot. It doesn't matter which car we are arguing about. They always find a way to reduce the whole debate to reliability. Then with VW, it's all about girls. No, Mchana, if you don't buy a VW, you won't chow any baddies because the baddie index, warawara, the baddie index yognuk. Let's compare cars spec for spec and see which one is the best. There's nothing wrong with the rear design, it looks just okay in my opinion. The boot space is 440 liters and the rear seats have a 60-40 split configuration. So you can so much just fold one seat if you want to carry large items and the other seat will remain open for a passenger. Since this is the XX model, inside we have some nice leather seats. They're a bit too firm for my liking, but they look nice nonetheless. The entry-level model comes with cloth seats and the worst infotainment system I've ever seen in a car. I'm not a big fan of touchscreens, but I can't imagine myself paying 371,000 rands for a car with this kind of setup in 2023. But then again, this is what you get for being a brand snob. The other thing I don't like about this car is the terrible old school parking brake. As you can see, there's no manual handbrake or an electronic parking brake button here. The parking brake is in the footwell and it's a goddamn pedal. It's a press to engage and press to disengage type of vibe. For some it's not a problem, but this thing really bothered me. You have to constantly think about the parking brake, otherwise you'll forget it because it's awkwardly positioned. I'm always in and out of different cars, and naturally when I get into a car that has no manual handbrake, my brain tells me to just put the car in drive and start moving. But here you have to always remember that silly parking brake. In other countries, the Corolla Cross comes with an electronic parking brake button, but in SA we get a pedal. There's space for the button, but they were like, nah, y'all deserve a pedal. Overall, the dashboard layout is clean and simple, nothing fancy. For the back passengers, there's air vents and 2 USB-C ports. In front, there's only one Type A port. You also get a cup holder on the rear doors, and I just learned that this thing is not a cup holder, because there's a sign here that says bottles only, no cups allowed. My whole life has been a lie. Legroom is not bad, and I think we're done here. All the Corolla Cross models come with a 1.8 litre 4-cylinder engine, and for the purpose of this video we'll just focus on the non-hybrids. Hybrids are a topic for another day. So this car has a 1.8 litre natural aspirated engine with a power output of 103 kilowatts and 172 newton meters of torque. The transmission is a CVT, and it's best for people who are older, because if you drive like a youngster it's kind of annoying. My lady hates it, and we'll get to that. With gentle acceleration, this car is really nice, so you always have to make sure that you give it half gas. Anything beyond half, the car starts screaming at you, especially when you are driving uphill or when you are trying to overtake. But what I like about this car is that the handling is much better when you compare it to that of the Jolion. The Jolion was a bit softer, and around corners it struggled a bit with body roll. But the Corolla Cross is kind of nice and firm, so I'm happy with the handling. This car is giving old lady vibes, and its biggest turn-off for a youngster like me is the CVT. You can't have fun with a car when you want to, because the engine noise is unbearable. Mama Snow doesn't know much about cars, but she noticed that something was off with the Corolla Cross and she doesn't like it. The claimed average fuel consumption is 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers, and my average has been hovering around 7 point something. The lowest figure I got was 6.1 liters per 100 kilometers driving to work like an old lady, and my average speed was 45 kilometers per hour according to the car. With the HAVAL Jolion, the lowest figure I got was 5.6 liters per 100 kilometers at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour, driving to work like an old lady, just like with the Corolla Cross. The highest figure I got with the Cross is 8.9 liters per 100 kilometers. With the Jolion it was way above 10, and I think that's the problem with the Jolion. If you do unthinkable things, the consumption shoots through the roof very fast, but then again these SUVs are not meant to be driven like GTIs. This car has a 47 liter fuel tank, and I wish it had a bigger tank because it runs out of fuel really fast. You drive 2 days nyana and you're left with half tank. 2 more days, child. The Corolla Cross you should buy is the XX model, and it costs 414,000 rand. You can buy the XR if you want to be fancy, but there's nothing special about it. As usual, Toyota cars come with a 3-year 100,000 kilometers warranty, and the Corolla Cross also gets an impressive 6 services 90,000 kilometers service plan. This is quite commendable considering the fact that other Chinese cars that I won't mention come with no service plan at all, but that's a collab. So if you finance a 414,000 rands Corolla Cross XX for 5 years with no deposit and no balloon payment at an interest rate of 10.75%, your installment will be roughly 8,950. Add 1,500 for comprehensive insurance and your monthly cost will jump to 10,450. I know this is a car review, but let's be honest about our country for a second. We're getting a Minister of Electricity, guys. I mean, what's next? Minister of Potholes? Because potholes are also a problem in this country, and they are even worse because they kill people. One pothole can wipe out 15 passengers same time. Oh, child. Now people are somewhat compelled to buy SUVs they don't really need because roads are poorly maintained. The amount of tax I'm paying makes me dizzy every month. And I must also pay tax from the few cents I make on YouTube, but I don't see where my money is going. Akunagezi, akunamgwaqo, uthenga imoto bafana bayayithatha, siyadutshulwa. In the intro, I said I'd personally choose a Jolion over a Corolla Cross. I lied. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more car content in a Mzansi context.